Greetings, loyal minions, beautiful humans. Welcome to the Psy Show, the show statistically proven to increase your chances of finding the ideal partner by 2.6% when undertaking everyday activities such as holding the door open for someone, purely because they will sense that you're more in touch with your emotional side without being too lame about it all. I'm sure you figured out you're watching a summons video. Whilst that's happening, I'm going to pop some names up on the screen again. Please, if you are one of the winners of my competition that haven't reached out to me yet, please do so. I'm only holding these codes for a couple more days and then I will redraw the winners because I need to get those codes out there and redeemed. So please reach out to me, give me a way of contacting you and giving you the code. Unfortunately, otherwise you will miss out on the prizes. Stay tuned to the end of the video for a huge surprise summon, and based on feedback, I'm going to run through the heroes that I did summon as well and just give a bit of a summary on them and whether I'm leveling them or not. In the meantime, enjoy some music. I'm going to introduce two songs today. So those songs are Tears I Never Cried, Part 1, and what I titled Tears You Never Cried, which is Part 2. This was a bit of a crazy idea I had for the album, which was to write the first song, which is Tears I Never Cried, is basically an apology letter. Now, most of this is based on things within my life where I feel I may not have acted as well as I have. I'm not saying I was an absolute arsehole or anything like that. It's just, I feel it's an interesting thing that adults go through at some point where we realize, oh shit, maybe I wasn't right, or maybe I should have done something different. So it was a reasonably easy song to write, but I came up with the idea of the fact that it's great for me to write that apology letter, but how is the other person going to interpret it? Like, what are they hearing in their head when they read that letter? So that's what Tears You Never Cried, which is Part 2, was about. It was basically a person sitting there reading the letter I'd written, trying to apologize for things, or just, not even apologizing, just acknowledging things that had happened and how that person would interpret it. So that's what it's all about. I actually, weirdly enough, made it more difficult and wrote the response before I wrote the original letter, if that makes sense. So that was an interesting little twist. A couple of lines in here. Perfection is my nature, so I buried faults within. That to me is just, sometimes we're so hell-bent on thinking we're perfect or trying to be perfect that we just ignore things and don't like to admit things that aren't there. So that's one part of it. Another bit was sealed with tainted blood and guilt. The tainted blood goes back to Black Hole Heart, where sometimes we can just think there's just something a little bit wrong with us, and we dwell on that, and at some point you kind of realize that maybe it's not, maybe there just wasn't anything wrong, and it's the other people's perception, that sort of thing. They taught me not to bleed out loud, so I leaked my silence red. I never struck a single match, just adored the flames they fed. Yeah, I think a lot of times just in life in general, we kind of taught, not by anyone specific, just by the world, that sometimes we think no one wants to listen, so we just pent it all up, store it all up, and sometimes it can come out in ways we don't want it to, as opposed to sometimes I feel this is about communication. Communication doesn't always have to be great about great things. People just need to trust each other that, okay, I can say to someone, this is bothering me, without being lame about it, without being stupid, and without thinking that the center of the world is me, but being able to have that conversation, especially with a partner, to say, look, this isn't working, can we try something different, rather than just storing it all up until at some point it just comes out. The match and adoring the flames they fed, sometimes I think we do actually enjoy some of that intense drama sometimes, even though we don't always deliberately cause it, but sometimes it's like, oh, but you know what, if I can just cause it, it might be anyway. It's just when I think people know what I'm talking about there. Folded neatly with my shame when I talked about posting the letter. Just, again, I think sometimes we feel certain things are just huge amounts of shame when they're really not. No one's perfect, so don't be against taking on a little bit of shame sometimes and just admitting, okay, you know what, I was a dick, I was wrong. Yeah, I think that, again, it just helps seeing from the other person's point of view. Now, I do like to have multiple meanings and that sort of things in the songs as well, so this was kind of written in a way that I was hoping people would hear the first song and think, oh, that guy's really nice, he's just apologizing, how sweet, that's really lovely. But then when you hear the person's response, it brings that doubt, and it's like, well, hang on. If she thinks he's an absolute prick, is he really sweet? Like, what happened here? Like, who's... And I think it's the huge thing about perception is there's always three sides to the story. There's the two people's point of view, then there's what actually happened, and we can all perceive that differently. So that was the overall tone I was trying to make, to kind of make you feel sorry for the guy, but then actually dislike him, depending on which side you talk. Anyway, let me know if that worked. I like to play around with those sort of themes. The big part, I think, in the second song is just the actual intro. So perception. When someone feels wronged, even a letter soaked in sorrow can reek of blame. And what happens to the regret when it's read like a weapon? So to me, again, that's like someone might legitimately be apologizing, but the other person's reading it with that past and sees it in a totally different way. And I think I tie that into a later song, which we'll get to at some other point, where I use a line, truth becomes a lie when soaked in blame. I think humans try to use truth a lot in a way that it shouldn't be used. So sure, it's the truth, but if I'm using that truth to shame someone else or to prove a point to someone or to make them feel bad about themselves, to me that it loses any truth behind it, if that makes sense. So that's what that's about. It's just understanding the way we use words, the way we use them doesn't always come across in translation. Another line in this one is, the mercy that you are begging for is my unwritten verse. I think that's a really important thing, because just because we decide that we're sorry about something or that we shouldn't have done something, it doesn't mean the other person is ready to forgive you, so to speak, or ready to accept that you understand what happened. So I think that's a huge thing. I think too often we focus too much on having the person forgive us. If you're truly sorry about something, then you don't need the other person's forgiveness, if that makes sense. Like, as long as you've done what you feel is the right thing, then they may not be ready to forgive you now. And that doesn't matter, because in your mind, you've got to accept that you've actually made up for it, so to speak. You know, don't dwell on it. Don't beat yourself up because the other person might not think that you've really apologized. If you've truly understood what your actions caused and have tried to make amends or acknowledge that and started to be a better person, then yeah, pat yourself on the back for that and keep trying to be better. And the very last line, I think, is born in the silence between the lines. I think sometimes we can read what someone says and there may not be anything nasty or painful, but I think it's what we invent between the lines sometimes. So really try to understand what the other person is saying, reading what they say and taking it for what it is, and not kind of making up the tone or but they didn't say this, they didn't put an emoji, whatever it may be. Anyway, that's enough dribbling for me. That's as deep and emotional as you'll probably ever hear me. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and then I'll throw some random songs in as well, but stay around to the end to hear about the heroes I pulled and to see the surprise almost last summon. Hope you enjoy.
This bleeding pen says sorry for all the chaos I designed. I'm not here to beg for mercy, just to speak what's been confined. I know my silence cut you more than any blade. Love felt like a weapon, a sinister charade. I didn't mean to bleed you dry, I just couldn't let you in. Perfection is my nature, so I buried faults within. The void became my refuge, even though it made you break. I dulled your cries to whispers for a future I'd forsake. I was broken but barely just to feel with you. I flinched and pulled away, 'cause feeling meant unlocking all the pain I hid away. I didn't fear your emotions, just feared I'd drown inside. So I held my breath in shadows, and the darkness claimed my mind. They taught me not to bleed out loud, so I leaked my silence red. I never struck a single match, just adored the flames they fed. I know this won't make it right, but it's a mask I need to shed. When I tried, I was too broken. My love was deep but never woken. I can't undo the damage done. I just hope you read the page, the one I wrote with shaking hands and folded neatly with my shame. This isn't some redemption song, just the death of all my sighs. All I have to offer now are the tears I never cried. Tomorrow I may weep for what we could have been, but yesterday my eyes were cracked, a desert soaked in sin. You deserve to have the love you want, someone brave or someone whole. All I ever gave was absence, a faint reflection of my soul. This isn't some redemption song, your scars can't be denied. I only hope they fade a little with these tears I never cried.
Perception crowns the meekest devil, king of hell. When someone feels wronged, even a letter soaked in sorrow can reek of blame. What happens to the regret when it's read like a weapon? This song is how it was heard, not how it was written.
How dare you write an apology soaked in second-hand guilt, when it was my soul left bleeding. Your silence made the kill. You ask for absolution like confusion makes it earned, but you knew what you were doing. Lit the match to watch it burn. You say you couldn't show it, like emotion made you weak, but your silence wasn't golden when I begged you just to speak. Drowning in your perfection, hid your presence behind a wall. So don't blame your fear of feeling, you
They taught me not to bleed out loud, so I leaked my silence red.
And I'm sure you think that's gospel truth inside your twisted head. You always found some clever way to scorch your memories. So here's to you, our past became your crimson symphony. I hope you tried, I hope you're broken. Your love was cursed before it was spoken. Don't pretend it's healing. What you want is to be free from the weight of all your choices, not the damage done to me. You weep like it's redemption, but venom rides your tide. So I only hope you choked on those tears you never cried.
Time won't always heal the wounds it hides, and pain runs deeper than the words written, born in the silence between the lines.
I will just add at the end of that, I did want to make her sound beautiful in that song. I didn't want it to sound like it was a nasty, angry, I'm so angry at you still after all these years sort of song. I wanted her to just be in a beautiful place in life, where she can, in a beautiful way, explain her side of it or what she thinks happened, but not in an angry, I hate you sort of way. It's just, you know what? That part of my life's been and gone. I'm happy, and I can just respond to you in a nice way, even though it may actually have a bit of undertone in it, if that makes sense. Now on to some other songs. Hope you enjoy.
Greetings, loyal minions, beautiful humans, take your seat. Welcome to the Show, where silence weds deceit. There's something here for everyone, truth, illusion, loss. Step into the shadow light, the lighthouse of the lost. In shadows born, young Psy was spawned inside the night, a fractured soul escaping to a world devoid of light. Hollow faces watched him, masked by selfish sin, lost inside the madness where devils grin and spin. Have you lost your shadow in the masquerade? Like the world's a twisted mirror, a mask without a face. Your soul's a silent echo, its pain a heavy cost. Whoa, whoa, la la, welcome to my lighthouse of the lost. I hid inside your world, wearing my crooked smile. Emotions just a ghost I haven't chased for a while. You love my black hole hard, but learned how to abuse it. All that remains are my ritual scars, disguised as music. Do you still chase meaning in the masquerade? Like the world's a painted mirror, your mask begins to fade. Your soul's a fading echo, it can't recall the cost. Whoa, whoa, la la, welcome to my lighthouse of the lost. For a while it was borderline, reflecting all you are, until that day you taught me perfection is a scar. Though you glimpse the truth, I see a hidden lie. Perhaps one day you'll drown in tears. I never cried. knocked on my door, burdened with pride and pain. An empty plea for solace whispered softly in vain. I couldn't resist the sanity of your insane. My voice crafted a key to unlock your soul, using me to save yourself, creating doubt to make it whole. And if a secret spied and a whisper lies, that's where you'll find me. And if you cling to scars, chasing faded stars, that's where you'll find me. And if you've died inside with nowhere left to hide, that's where you'll find me. Will you find me? You say you're lost in the dark like a ship lost at sea. Everywhere you look, don't look, all you see is me. But the birds so black are trapped inside, tattooed on your soul, forever they reside. A minute of hate, a moment of silence, a twist of fate, my misguided patience. And when a secret spied and a whisper lies, that's where I'll find you. And when you cling to scars, chasing faded stars, that's where I'll find you. And when you've died inside with nowhere left to hide, that's where I'll find you. Will I find you? Your painted dreams stole the colors from my skies. Your revenge lit the fuse in those endangered eyes. You saw a glimpse of yourself in your hatred of me, for I'm nothing but the mirror meant to set you free. In your pool of lies, your truth begins to fade. Your reflection is cracked with each game that you played. The darkness now burns where your spark should be. The glimmers of your past are long lost in me. Time to cast you out, a shadow in my wake. In your hidden depths, it's my light that you take. Your twisted secrets will never be sight, for I am the whisper where you no longer hide. So when your secrets spy and your whispers lie, you'll never find me. And when you use your scars, fade my shining stars, you'll never find me. And now you've died inside with nowhere left to hide, you'll never find me. Your soul is a prisoner to eternity. Your world is never easy. Your world is never free. Your world will just consume you. Your whole damn world is me. You think I know your demons and how to slay them dead. You think that I'm your hero. hero, it's all inside your pretty head. You think I know you better than all that came before. You think this makes me special, it just makes loving you a chore. You build me up and break me down, then ask me why I bleed. Today I'll be your savior, and you'll beg to never leave. Tomorrow I'll be the devil, and you'll beg to be set free. You think you should be worshipped and accepted as you are. You think that you are perfect, your perfection is a scar. You think I'll never leave you, you'll never let me go. You think you have the answers, without me you'll never know. You wanna hear I love you with every word I say, but you'll never hear me sigh while your mask of blame remains. You build me up to break me down and expect to see me bleed. Today I'll be your lover, and you'll hold me oh so close. Tomorrow I'll be the razor, and you'll cut to let me go. I think the time has come to tell you how I feel. I've screamed inside in silence, your truth was never real. You lie with every word, but never see your wrongs. Your love's a loaded weapon. Now all my love is gone. You build me up, but can't break me down. You'll never feel me bleed. Today I'll be your mirror, reflecting all your fears.
There we go. What a wild ride. A lot of 5 stars. I must admit, after doing a lot of summons, like that's probably how a whale goes for most summons portals. So, and to be honest, it's probably still less than some, because generally the bigger whales will just continually pull until they get exactly the heroes they need. But yeah, I do feel a little bad in a way. Not to dwell on that sort of stuff. You know, I'm an adult. I have money. I choose what to do with my money. I get all that, but at the same time, I also understand. It's just a silly game. Why would I put money into it? You know, it's opened up my world in a whole different way. Doing this YouTube stuff, having all you amazing people out there supporting me. So I don't dwell on it, but sometimes I do think, oh shit, maybe I should have done something better. Anyway, moving on. Heaps of 5 stars in there. I will admit, I was actually trying to get Elsbeth. I really wanted Elsbeth. It kind of annoyed me when I got the second Bartholomew, because it was like, damn, that was it. That was probably my last chance. I think I only did 10 more pulls after that Bartholomew. And during that 10 pulls, I got Dimmer and also Papyrus with the costume, I think. And to be honest, as soon as I got 2 5 stars, I was like, oh shit, that's it. I'm done. Like, there's no way. And then Elsbeth popped up with like the third last bonus pull. So yeah, it kind of worked out well in the end. Anyway, we're looking at the heroes. So Maisie was a dupe. I do already have a Maisie. We can see here already maxed. Fantastic hero. Very good with the Garrison Guard. Gets the Mega Minion. Does a lot of things. Has a lot of stuff going on. So already had Maisie. I'll skip over Achilles because Achilles is just a pretty average hero of the month. Skipping over Zora, another hero of the month, and Aurochs, the most recent hero of the month. We know Aurochs is a reasonable hero. May not get a run on my roster. We did get Rust. I really do love the Fox heroes. Rust is slow, 500 damage, to the target and nearby enemies. So hit 3, the target receives lasting bleed damage per turn. So that's handy because if I don't remove it, it just keeps going if I don't cleanse it. Gives cover to an ally. Caster regenerates HP. Look, he's pretty solid, especially in the rush wars, or I could use a couple of heroes like Beowulf and Hathor to speed him up. If the lasting bleed damage spread to nearby enemies, like I think it was the Frost Fox, can't think of his name, but I'd probably level him, and I may still level him. This is probably one of the downsides of the Harvest Portal for someone who does spend regularly is generally, if you don't get a hero within the first couple of months, they're generally almost outdated. You might as well just pull in a newer portal and get a newer hero. Now, I know that sounds a bit iffy for anyone who doesn't spend a lot. These heroes are amazing. I can only speak from my perspective in this particular instance. But the Harvest is great for if you don't spend a lot, then it's a fantastic portal to actually spend a bit. And that's what I do. I plan for some of these portals and just think, you know what, I'm just going to dump a fair bit into that one, get a bag of goodies and move on, basically. So, sorry, I just noticed he's not locked. I'll lock him up. That does freak a few people out. It's a pretty good hero. I may end up leveling, but may not. Who else did we get? Uthragan. I'll skip. We'll take a look at a few others. Vard is a great hero. I don't have many Astrals at all. Vard was actually a dupe though, so I may end up leveling a second. Just, again, you can use heroes to speed him up. If I pair, I believe, maybe Zonalfod costume, or actually no, the original I think gives the mana, with maybe a Bard, I could possibly then get Vard to fire in 9 tiles. I believe I'd need to check that out. But yeah, I may level a second for that reason because you can then use him outside of Rush War. But yeah, they are fantastic heroes, as we know, with all the passives, all the family bonus things. Does heaps of damage, does wither, so very, very good, and lowers mana generation, so perfect. Depending on what else I level, we'll see how a second Vard comes along. Nitus, you can see I have been leveling. I may not max. I'll probably get him to 370 and see what I think. It's fast, does a decent snipe to 1. It's only the target receives Devouring Goo, and 1 turn they get paralyzed. So I'm just not sure. I mean, it's good to disable someone, so I might be able to use him as an off color. But you know, if you're using in a kill team, by the time you hit with 2 or 3, the enemy's dead, so the Devouring Goo and the paralyzed doesn't really do much. But I might be able to use him just as a one-off in a team as a 3-1-1 where I can use him to maybe disable someone on the enemy team that I want to paralyze. So we'll see how he comes along. I was so stoked to get Freyawaru. And the only reason I got that is because the tokens were in one of the deals I bought for the Harvest Festival. So she's amazing. You've probably seen me using her more already. You can see I've maxed her out. Safely dispels buffs from all enemies. Great against those fawns that give them mana. Boost health. Charges herself so quickly with the passive, so she gets mana for every enemy buff. So she can charge sometimes, depending on how many buffs pop up on the enemy team, in 4 to 5 turns. So just absolute amazing hero. You'll see me using her a lot. I haven't used her in the last one was Bloody War, so I didn't really get a chance to use her. But yeah, I've done a test video as well, so you've probably seen her in that. But absolutely stoked with Freyawaru. Wealthau is another really good healer. Heals all allies who have less than 50 HP up to 50 HP and then regenerate 13/20 over 3 turns. So it's a pretty big boost. And the fact she's healing them up to 50%. Well, anyone that's over 50% just gets that boosted health. So doesn't also cleanse or anything, but does the source of buffs, which is giving nice extra mana and big hits. Has some great passives and family bonus to cleanse. So the family bonus is where you can cleanse an ailment. some pretty good passive there as well. So pair her with buffers and she'll gain that mana. So yeah, I am leveling her. I've just got her up to the last thing and I'm just slowly leveling throughout Atlantis Rising. I'm also leveling a few others. I'm going to skip Zappa. Lysanor was a duper slow reviver. She's quite good if you don't have other revivers, but being so, she's got a pretty good chance of reviving. Who else did we get? We're going to skip over Roachfoot. We've looked at him during Soul Exchange and that type of thing. We'll have a quick look at a few others and that will be it. I wasn't a huge fan of Andy J when he came out, but he does do a lot of damage. Slow speed, so again, Rush War or pairing with mana boosters. Decent damage and then gives the dance. The dance is really good for blocking other types of ailments. Probably where it's going to end. I don't have him leveled at the moment. I just don't think he's quite versatile enough for my roster, but it does have some useful skill and some useful passives over there. So we'll see what happens, but I probably won't end up leveling Andy J. Bartholomew was a dupe. You would have seen that I got one in my first lot of Harvest summons, but absolutely fantastic hero. I've actually leveled both of them up. One's at 90, one's at 85. I have got very close to running out of feeders and certain materials, especially Aethers. Really struggling for Aethers at the moment. But he's fantastic against especially Goric, as he does remove undispellable buffs. Now, you do need to time it. You would have said, again, you've seen me test him, you've seen me using him more, but he does take off those undispellable buffs, but he only removes 2 buffs. So depending on the order, the enemy's got those buffs. But if Goric fires just by himself and you remove them, you do get rid of that annoying slime revive. So he's fantastic against that. Resists silence, so he's great against Cheris and Song from the Outlaw family. Great in the current meta. Throws up a reflect as well, so does good damage with those fiends. Yeah, great hero all around, so he was definitely one to max straight away. Dimmer was one of the last ones I've got. I did prioritize Bartholomew in red, so look, I will probably still level Dimmer. They are getting a little bit older, but those Mega Minions are actually really good against those Harvest fiends that keep coming up with Elsbeth and Bartholomew. They're still really good heroes. They've got great passives, good family bonus. I just don't know if I will use him enough. Depending on, it will probably depend if the Harvest heroes come back out in a normal summon and there's more of them. I may end up leveling Dimmer. I do actually lack a few red hitters. I would love to get the current red Moth as opposed to leveling Dimmer. So I may just wait until after that portal. I won't be spending much, but just once I do the quest and get some pulls to see what happens. But yeah, Dimmer, very good, and I will probably level him. Papyrus is interesting. I actually used to use him a lot. You can see he's maxed. I don't have emblems on him. I've taken those off. But I like it because each time the minion was attacked, the enemy that ended up receiving that sand damage. So it just kept stacking on and on. Gave your team defense, but he is limited in that sense as he's not doing any damage, is not doing anything to limit the enemy. It's just helping get that sand damage, and his minions now are probably a little bit weak. When they first came out, you pair him up with someone like a Freya, anyone else who has minions, so you can just sort of hide them behind other minions or strengthen them up. His costume gets awesome bonuses, heaps of passives, but still probably not quite enough to level his costume, although the costume is quite simple to level, so I may even level it because he's already at 80. I might level the costume and see if I can find a use for him, but outside of that I probably won't. And of course, lucky last was Elsbeth. With I think 2 pulls left, she popped up. I had given up hope, and I definitely wasn't going to spend any more, but similar to Bartholomew, she got those awesome fiends that just keep shooting out there. Resistance against special skill blocking, but also gains health and mana with that as well. So taking against a team that's got like multiple Cheris or Song, whatever his surname is, from the Outlaw family, or a mixture of those two, you just end up getting a nice little boost of health and mana. Already fast speed, very good stats all around. Does extra damage against the fiends. Hits either 2 enemies or 1 enemy twice if there's anyone left. Extra defense is nice. Not really a main part of it, but yeah, it's just those fiends are the main thing. You take it against a team that doesn't have much healing, and they just spread like crazy, and you can just slowly win the battle. So that's it with the heroes. I'll just take a quick look at who I'm also working on as well. It's a little bit unorganised at the moment. I probably need to spend a bit of time in here, but you can see I did get Darkbeat and Merith sort of at the start of Harvest as well, so they've been mostly maxed out. Darkbeat's a good counter for Goric. Wealthio is being worked on. I've got a few here that are sort of in a state of I'm just holding to figure out exactly who to level. Similar with these heroes there. So I did get Ashen, I think, in the first lot of Harvest summons as well. Got a Gorian. So yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out exactly who I need and where I'm going to be able to use them. But that's where we're at the moment. I hope you enjoyed that. A few people did ask me to do that at the end of summons, so hopefully it wasn't too long. As always, if you enjoy what I'm doing, remember to gently press the subscribe button, give your kitty a scritch for me, and have a bloody good one.